Welcome to Across the Table, the podcast of Hannibal the Magician.
Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. If you're not doing well, I hope you're on a nice road to recovery. My thoughts are with you, all of you. Those of you who take the time to listen to this, I really do appreciate the effort. It's well worth my effort, even if there's only one or two of you out there listening. When I turned 60, I had this feeling like, it's not a whole hell of a lot of time left. And what are you going to fill that with? I've spent a lifetime gathering experiences, gathering ways to improve the talent that was put into my hands when I was born. And so these years, these whatever I have left years, days, months, weeks, who knows? We don't know. Trying to tell more of the story, to tell more of the journey that I've been on. I don't have any illusions, but that it might help someone else or be a companion to someone else on their own road. It's my own little semi-desperate way of putting down the history that I've lived. Some of these episodes are not going to be very pleasant because we don't all come through life pristine. But it's going to be the truth. And a lot of the truth is going to be pointed directly at me. But today, there's a conversation I wanted to have that really sits close to me. So much it's close enough to be like the silence in a room when all the words have finally been spoken. And there's an awkwardness between the person across the table in a particularly difficult conversation. And that awkwardness, that silence, that quiet is necessary in conversation, in performance, in standing on a stage and presenting your point of view. There's a weight in an empty chair. There's a presence and a silence that is just as real as a chaotically filled scramble of words and raised voices. And I spend the majority of the time preparing to go on stage. There's a lot that happens beforehand. And there's a very quiet moment, usually starting about an hour before performance begins, where I'm sitting backstage or sitting in a dressing room or sitting in my car, getting quiet, getting in touch with the things I really, truly want to say and where they're going to go with that. I stand in the dark a lot of the time, right behind the curtain. And sometimes, even before that, I'll stand in the theater or I'll sit at the table in an intimate performance and I'll just look at the chairs in the room. Before they're filled, before the eager faces start leaning forward, before the whispering and the eyes scanning the room and taking it all in. The chairs at this point are empty, waiting for me, waiting for the people that are going to be occupying them. And some of them are just not going to be filled at all. The empty chair speaks to me. Who's missing? Who could have been here? Absence has a presence. I've stood at many tables, sat behind them, sat in seances during stories where the empty chair feels heavier than any soul in the room. Maybe it is actually occupied by someone we cannot see, someone who stopped in just to see the show from the other side. Sometimes it's the empty chair at the kitchen table, someone we've lost. Sometimes it's one we've reserved, just in case someone wants to show up. Sometimes it's the seat that mirrors us, right across the table, daring us to sit across from ourselves. And the silence, not the awkward kind, not the nervous pause, but the silence that comes when you finally stop filling the air, when you trust that the stillness has its own gravity. That silence, paired with an empty chair, can be deafening for someone who uses words as his living. Good Lord. Deafening. The silence can be deafening, or it can be liberating. Presence isn't only about the words that you say. It's about knowing when to stop talking. It's about recognizing that the audience or the friend or the loved one across the table or even yourself sometimes just needs the space to breathe. I've come to learn that silence is a partner in every performance. The breath between the gestures, the stillness between the notes, the unspoken space where real magic lingers. And the empty chair? That chair is the ultimate teacher. It reminds me not to take the audience for granted, to honor those who are in the room, and also to carry with me those who cannot be. We spend so much of life trying to fill the space with chatter, with noise, with distraction, but the weight of the empty chair teaches us to respect that there is something that is not here as deeply as what is. My mother used to come to all the performances of mine that she could attend, every play, every radio show, every time I was out in public. My mother never saw me as a magician. She was killed before I ever picked that skill up. But she was there. And as real as the person sitting in the filled chair, the one at the very front of the stage, leaning forward, their eyes open, the laughter, the applause, the sudden gasps, the empty chair beside them, I can feel her presence. And I could feel her pride. And I could feel her watching and judging in the way that only she could. Is this what I brought you up to be? Is this who I dreamed you'd be as a child? No, it's not. I had other dreams for you, but I'm really, really proud of what you chose and that you chose to live it so honestly. It was actually part of a letter that she wrote to me after a play that I did when I was, 22, 21. She sent me a note and said those words. And so I do feel her presence there in the chair, waiting backstage, telling me silently, absently, that I'm doing okay, that I am using the gift in the right way. And she is there in every pause between the sentences that I deliver, and the moments where I draw the focus down to my hand and say nothing at all, waiting for the magic to be revealed. So an invitation. I'm going to invite you that this week you find your empty chair. Sit across from it. Let it speak to you. Maybe it reminds you of someone you love. Maybe it reminds you of the silence you've been avoiding. Maybe it challenges you to be more fully present for the seats that are filled in your life. And your conversations, whether at the boardroom table, the dinner table, seance room. Try practicing silence, not as an absence or a way of just staying out of the circle, but you're with real, meaningful presence. See how the room shifts when you let stillness carry part of the conversation. That's the weight of the empty chair. The other empty chair is waiting for me. There's going to come a time when I leave this world behind, and I'm going to climb some familiar steps in a small house. And I walk around the living room and into the kitchen, and there'll be a table all set. My mom, my dad, my grandparents, my Uncle Angus, all be waiting there. And there'll be a chair for me, and there'll be plenty to feast on, and lots of stories to tell. Thank you for being here across the table, metaphorically, with me today. If this resonated, you can find more reflections in my writing. Everything from the blog to the books to the YouTube channel to this tiny little podcast. I'm going to continue to explore the presence, the storytelling, and my performance craft, and lots of stories along the way. Until we talk next time, I'll keep a chair open just for you, and I hope there's love where you are.
I may not know exactly where this road is taking me, but I know I'm exactly right where I'm supposed to be. The journey is long, full of joy and pain, but as long as you're nothing left to give other than love. And the funny thing about it is, love is everything. I hope there is love where you are. I hope there is love where you are. I may be a liar for the tricks, but if you open up your eyes, you would see nothing but the truth behind all of my lies. I broke every rule and I rolled every boulder. I carried the weight of the world on my shoulder. There is nothing left to give other than love. And the best part about it is, love is everything. I hope there is love where you are. 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 Anyone can wave a wand and make the heartache disappear, then call it art. But without heart, you've got nothing but illusion. Anyone can wave a wand and make all their heartache disappear and call it art. But without heart, you've got nothing but illusion. I hope there is love where you are. I hope